is choking off both energy and fertilizer at the same time. And the danger is in precisely that combination. In the 1970s, the world experienced an oil shock, painful, destabilizing, but a single commodity problem. What we are seeing now is an oil shock and a food system shock running through the same 12-mile passage simultaneously. There is no single policy response. What makes this particularly dangerous is the absence of spare capacity anywhere in the system. Canadian fertilizer plants are already running at full production. There is no stockpile to draw from. Currently, what we see most exposed is corn, and that matters well beyond corn itself. Of all the major staple crops, corn requires the most nitrogen fertilizer to grow. It is in agricultural terms a heavy feeder. And wheat, rice, and rapeseed are also heavily dependent on nitrogen fertilizer, and those are the stable crops that underpin food security for billions of people. Corn is also the primary feed grain for cheese, for chickens, and dairy cattle. So a corn shortfall doesn't stay a corn problem for long. It becomes a meat and dairy problem within a season.
It just seems crazy. We're one of the most mineral-rich countries in the world, and there's nothing here.
Without fuel security and without fertiliser security, there is no food security.
So this could essentially have you self-sufficient?
100%.
This is Moree in northwest New South Wales. It's the heart of Australia's grain belt and it's home to some of the most fertile country in the nation. Usually farmers here would be preparing for winter cropping, but right now they're facing shortages of two major commodities, and without them, they're warning Australia's food supply is in jeopardy. In farming, timing is everything. Get up. While Rebecca Reardon's land may be calling, the fuel and fertiliser she needs to answer are trapped in a global gridlock.
We are risk managers and we are very, very good at it. But when something like this happens and you have your fuel and fertiliser, two of your main input costs going up by, over 50%, approaching 100% increase in prices, there's nothing you can do about it.
A monster drought has swallowed 60% of the lower 48 states. The South is baked sugarcane, rice, peanuts, fruit trees, choking under severe extreme drought. And ranchers are staring at pastures now that won't grow. The cattle herd is already the smallest it's been since the 1950s. Farmers have been hammered for years for the skyrocketing fertilizer prices that happened, remember, after COVID. And now we have another fertilizer hit. And now pile the drought on top of that. The math is brutal. Math is math. Food costs are going up, and not a little, a lot. Our farmers are under extreme stress. You don't think you care about the farmer? Wait until you can't eat.
Hey, Shalom. Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, pushing his word and truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, overall, the elect of Israel, Shalom. And as you saw these videos that I put together, they're shorts, but it just shows you that the famine that is on the horizon, the famine that is on the horizon. You see in one of the videos they mentioned that it's very the time frame is very delicate to when you plant your crops. Certain crops got to be planted at a certain period of time, and you pray and hope that that particular season or that time you plant the crops, you pray and hope that the weather prohibits it, allows it rather, slocky. All right, it's basically there's a time where you have to do things. You know what I'm saying? When it goes in the scripture in Ecclesiastes, is the time and the season to do so. To do a time and the season for everything, that definitely goes into you farming. And as we see, if people is looking at these prices of gas going up, you got to look and see what's about to happen to the food. I know you say, you having more people saying, hey, I used to put $200 worth of groceries. I had to put it in the back of the car in the trunk because it was so much. But now you can just fit almost $200 of food in the passenger seat of your car. You know, this is gonna continue to increase. All right. So famine is gonna increase, because one thing about famine, it could be a lack of food, or it can be an increase in prices that's gonna get so high because of it's not the abundance of food, and then it gets so high where you'll look and be like, damn, well, the prices are so much because it's slim pickings, as they would say. Now you saying, hey, I don't have a job, or my job don't pay enough because these jobs are not keeping up with the increase of prices. Okay, so it's going to become a point where you're going to have people that's going to be looking to they're going to be looking, and it won't be a way to feed their families. It won't be a way to find, it won't be a way to go and eat every day. A lot of these fast food places probably will start closing down. Okay, you're going to probably have certain one-stop shops, and it's going to be such a long line, and it's going to be increasing prices where you're going to be like, damn, I can't get to it. Also, it's going to be points where if you're able to get food, you're going to have scavengers out there ready to take it from you when you're trying to make it back to your bayat, which is your home. That's like when you brothers like to bring out that movie, The Road. You can't be on the road and just all willy-nilly walking in the street or driving along the streets, and somebody saw you just love out the grocery store, or left from buying some type of goods, something with necessity, water. It's gonna continue to increase. And place like here in America, where you see Australia, they said, hey, this thing is coming. Their farmers are struggling. Same thing here in America, but they don't tell you as much. You can pull it up and see it on YouTube and these different things, but the main news don't really tell that, because it's just gonna happen, and you're gonna look and be like, damn, and what's that coming in like a thief in the night? Okay. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 5. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right. Plagues is about to come about. Now we're having this with the Hunter virus. We don't know how this is going to pan out, but it looks like it might be some horrific things that may come out of this, Like we think Ovid, people was making jokes about it at one point, but then it got what? It got real serious and then it became what? A lockdown. Okay? And there's going to be other plagues that's going to come about. Okay? The sword. What the sword, when you do, is what? Is to cut, put to death. Okay? And you're going to see more of that when people have what? That lack of bread. Okay? When they had the lack of bread. And this is only beginning. When you go into 2nd Ezra 16, around the 18th verse, it go and read on down. It goes into the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. It goes in the beginning of famine and great death. As we read in here, you can coincide that with that. And also in 2nd Ezra 16, it goes into where it says, for many shall perish in famine, perish of famine, or something of that stature, perish of famine. So that's why this video here will be, the famine is on the horizon, because it's going to constantly increase. Just having people that are bugging out, cutting on the camera, sitting in their cars, and they're just losing it, talking about how their rent is so high, and they only just have enough food for to get through and get by, and as it increases, you're gonna get to a point where you can have people saying they can't afford the food. Okay, or they go into their local markets and can't find food. This is on the horizon. That's why it's high time to wake out of sleep, because our salvation is nearer than we believe. Because the Lord said when these happen, look up, because the time of our salvation will be here. And we're seeing this about to happen. When you see these things, like I say, without fertilizer, crops going to grow weaker and smaller. Okay. You're going to yield the yields, which basically producing the seedling and the crops to kind of grow, they're going to drop significantly. I watched one video where it said it can drop 20 to 50%. So just imagine 20 to 50% of your produce, of your food, not in the stores. Do you know how that's going to cause? All right. Think about what this shit? I ain't never been to this shit. After Black Friday, after Thanksgiving, when people rush in to get, they had the different items for cheap. Just think how it was back in the day when people running in the stores. It's a little more organized because people get it online. A lot of it used to be shopped online now, but just imagine how they used to rush in there and all the fights and all that. Just imagine this is going to be happening, just not on Black Friday, but it's going to be happening every day. You know, just to make, just to get food to survive, just to provide for your families. Okay. So, like I said, for behold, said the Lord, I will bring the plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, and death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. All right, so these things are being fulfilled because the wickedness has exceedingly polluted the earth. So the Lord is bringing about the sword to come upon the earth, famine, death. All right, all these things, the plagues, because what? Because of the wickedness has polluted the earth. So this chaos is going to happen before the Lord's come and purge the earth and bring forth that fire by thermonuclear destruction, as well as the chariots. Okay, when you look at the Strait of Hormuz and these different places, and plus the crops that can't yield fruit because they can't produce, it's key ingredients that come out of like the Strait of Hormuz as well, like fertilizer ingredients, ammonia, and something called urea, all these things that you need to set up for your crops. All right. And these things are happening, and we saw it happen in Australia, also all other parts of the world. Just go and look at these different videos where these different places, like developing countries, there's going to be real food shortages going to be happening there. Okay, wealthier countries, you're going to see food shortage, but you're going to see higher food prices, like America and these different things. You know, so famine don't have to just happen where you be like, damn, it ain't really no food, but the food, you can't afford it, and Esau is not going to give that to you. He's just not going to give you food until he's bring forth what? His seal. He's going to say, like I said, he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, all right, to receive what? That mark in the right hand on their foreheads, all right? And that's going to be caused because people are going to be needing food. They're going to be needing things to help sustain their families, sustain themselves. And he's going to bring forth these different solutions to you. And it all it can start by what? Having famine, having war, all these things that come about. But we know it's ultimately the Lord that's setting these things up. Okay, I want to jump down to verse I'll start at 19. It says, the man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Okay, because when you can't feed your family, you having, like, you got a woman and she up there talking junk in your ear, like you ain't been doing nothing, you not providing for us, you supposed to be the head, and then your stomach growling at the same time, your kids up there holding their stomach, might be sick, you know, you'll lose it, you know. Like, yeah, I know Miller over here, he's my friend, but I'm sorry, I see he be coming in and he be having some food. I see his kids are not losing weight like that. I see they're not struggling. You know, I asked him for some flour or some rice and he gave it to me the other day, you know. So they got something over there. So he's not going to have pity. He's going to end up coming, instead of asking, come taking. These things are about to come upon the horizon as well. Famine causes chaos. Famine causes crime because someone looking to take what you have, and you know what I'm saying, because they don't have. what it say, the haves and the haves not. It really becomes that. And it's going to be the haves and have nots of necessities. You know what I'm saying? Food, water, you know. It just says that these are basically the things that to sustain life, you know. It says, and read it again, 2 Ezra 15 and 19. The man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Because we just read, the Lord said, what? Going back in verse 5, it says, behold, says the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword. So what we just read up here, he said that, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Okay, spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Now, when you look at that in verse 5, it goes into what? Bring plagues, sword, famine. Because they say that's why that sword is going to come about because the lack of bread, which is famine, and death and destruction. Okay, that's having no pity upon your neighbor. Okay, because of that lack of bread, the sword is going to come into play, and it's going to cause what? Great tribulation. So these things are coming, and it's going to not be, like I say, because when you have famine that comes into play, we see that in the scriptures. It don't just affect man and woman, it even affect animals. So all will suffer. It says that in Sirach 40, where all will have to suffer because of these things. Okay? Because you look at it when you have lower supply of like crops, mean what? Higher prices of grain. Okay? Wheat, corn, rice, these grains that you do have to what? Higher cost, you have to feed the animals. And then that causes what as well? You don't have many animals, because you have farmers selling off animals dying. They got to go ahead, and sometimes you want to produce, like let's say for cattle, you want to produce more cattle before they, and as you produce more cattle, then you can what? Take them to a sale barn, or you could take them to slaughter to get meat. But it's going to be some doing that a little sooner and quicker, because they're not going to have, you need them cattle to eat to what? For the plumping them up, to get through these things, to get through. So they're going to be going through famine as well, So higher cost of meat will come into play, because what? It's not going to be an abundance of meat because you don't have enough grain to feed the animals. So it'd be a lot of selling off of the animal, of your cattle, a lot of slaughter them early, okay? All this is going to what? Have your grocery bills to increase. Okay? And I'm going to get that as well. What I said was Sirach. This is Sirach 40. No, it's Sirach 39. It's Sirach 39 and verse 20. You know what? I'm going to start at verse 26. It says, the principal thing for the whole use of man's life are water, which now he's, you know what I'm saying? I think now they're saying, I don't know if it was the CEO of Nestle or what, but they were like, water is a privilege. So they're trying to tell you that you don't need water. If you don't, and you're supposed to receive water within 3 days, or you can be at risk you can possibly be at risk to what? Dehydrating and die. Okay? Like I say, water, fire. You need fire, iron, salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grapes, and oil and clothing. You see that? These are principal things. And now what we just reading about, not having enough fertilizer, and also the weather, you know what I'm saying? As Dwayne Beck just said in one of the videos, you have those crops. You have those lower 48 states. Listen, at 48 states, lower 48 states going to have problem with the farming this year, And that's what you need farming to get certain what? Wheat, flour, you know what I'm saying? All these things. Okay. Then we jump down to verse 29. It says, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So this is the Lord wrath that is getting ready to come upon the earth, because what? Because we read in 2 Ezra 15, it says because wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. So this is going to be major famine. Okay, it's going to be a major abundance of death that's going to happen. When people say, "Oh, it was like 5 people that was unalive." 10, no, you're going to see thousands upon millions. These things are about to happen. That's why we have to pray to the Lord and ask for Him to give us the law, the mindset to endure these things, to cover us, So, hey, we just got to get prepared because we see these things that are coming down the pipe. Got to constantly pray to the Lord. This is the time that we definitely got to step in and pray to the Lord and ask for deliverance and ask for the Lord to give us the strength to get through these times that are here, these bad times. Okay. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Waha, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, great millstone, peace and blessings to Akim. Akwa for pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.